Hi guys, it's Tiny Tay and I'm back today with some more shenanigans. On today's video we're going to be talking about Lovers and Friends Festival. Listen, if you are new here, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you're returning, hi, welcome back. I've missed you. I'm sure a lot of people who don't originally follow me will be watching this video because the tweets and the Instagram posts were posting. That's literally all I have to say about that. Let's jump into this video. I got my iPad with notes here because A-type personality would not allow me to go into this without having everything fully planned out and kind of what I want to say about it, because some people were acting like this was the worst concert on earth, and in my experience it wasn't. So let's start off by saying this is 100% my experience. Our life experiences shape us in different ways, and I know there was kind of a sensitive content matter regarding this topic, so maybe you felt a different way about it than I did. I encourage you to make your own video because every perspective matters, but this one's mine. So let's get into it. To start, we're going to talk about the background. What is Lovers and Friends? Where did it come from? Alright, so 2021, we're in peak COVID, and this festival's announced with Lil' Kim headlining, Lil Jon, Usher, Monica, Ashanti, Ja Rule, and Lil' Kim's the first person. She's like, I don't know what this is, I didn't get paid for this, I don't have nothing to do with this, like, run me my check and that's when we can talk about it. And I'm like, because the second I saw it, I was immediately interested, like, this is the music we grew up on. Like, this is, I was super excited, right? So anyway, then I'm like, ooh, biting my nails, because we know Lil' Kim gonna keep it real. Anyway, it was canceled because it was COVID, like, flat out. That's 100% reason why it was canceled. So last summer, the tickets came back out. They're like, we're doing it now. It's gonna be a big thing. So I'm like, okay, what do I have to lose? Like, a festival in Vegas with my favorite people, let's do it. So I buy the tickets. I get GA plus because I remember there was a very clear chart saying what was available on each of the things. If I could go back, I would have done VIP, but I'll tell you guys about that later. So I picked the GA plus because I remember one of the things, free water, and I'm like, I have chronic illness, I'm thirsty, I absolutely need that. There was no way I was going out to Vegas without free water. But then I tried to go back and look for the list, and I cannot find it anywhere. And I'm like, okay, me being the person that I am, I know for a fact what I saw, and I know why I would have picked which of these things I would have picked. Because if there was no difference or I didn't find it worth it, I would have went with the regular general admission. But I remember the difference between them was such a little cost that I was like, okay, whatever, I'll do GA+. Anyway, I wish that I had that list for this video because it really would have helped. Unfortunately, nowhere to be found, lost in cyberspace, I guess. So then we're trying to get the tickets. I obviously got the tickets for Saturday. That was the day I went. But I remember right after those tickets sold out, within hours, they added a new day. For me, that was just a little suspicious because it's like, if y'all were going to do that, you could have done that from the beginning and there wouldn't have been such a fight over all of these tickets. And second, you're all of a sudden just have the space, property, time, money to just add a second day randomly. I don't know, maybe I just have trust issues. So fast forward to 2 weeks ago, it's 2022 now. This is the last week of April. They send out emails, they update the Instagram page that, hey, things are about to get sent out. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. I get to the mailbox and I don't have it anymore, but I will insert a picture of what I got. My bracelet was stolen. My code to activate my bracelet and the little sheet that says Lovers and Friends on it was all I had. It was in a bag from USPS that said, hey, it got ruined, we don't know what happened to it. So I go back and I'm like, I paid $300 for this literal bracelet, like, where is it at? And she's like, you're gonna have to contact your company. So I'm like, okay, I did. This was days before, like, days before. So then I emailed them. The first email's like, thanks for contacting us, but this doesn't work anymore. This email's not being monitored. And I'm like, okay. So then finally doing my own research, I found the, like, link that you go to report whatever has happened, and I fill that all out, and they're like, we can't resend, but we'll have it at the gate for you when you get there. And I'm like, okay, for me, this was still a little bit like, I'm nervous Nelly, I really am. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I knew I just needed to get there because in the email, the gates did not open until a few hours before the concert on Saturday. So that just kind of let me know, like, this is not a box office. Like, this is, like, people literally, like, intense. And, of course, once I got there, it was people intense. And then as I'm walking, I'm like, I need to get my bracelet. Like, does anyone know where to go? And the lady's like, you're going to have to pay $20. And I was like, I'm not paying a cent. Like, absolutely nothing. So then I was like, okay, just tell me where to stand in line because I'll figure it out on my own. Like the bracelet process and the money thing, like we can bout that out once I get up there. So then you get there, there's like lines for VIP, there's lines for social media, there's lines for like, I guess just to speak to a representative or whatever. So that's what I did. Thankfully I was able to get my bracelet with no problem. I just needed my ID and I was like, okay, that was easy. So then I'm waiting in line, the lines are like all kind of jumbled, and I'm like, hey, like, isn't this supposed to already be open at 10? And she's like, well, I guess they pushed it back to 11, and they announced that. And I'm like, where did they announce that? Because I went back to look and I didn't see it at all. I didn't see it that day and I did not see it any time after that. So I was just like, okay. So anyway, waited till 11. It was fine because this was already like 10:36 at the time that I got there. So it was getting close to 11 anyway. So then they opened the gates and we had to like run to a different set of gates. Not run, I should say. People were running though because they thought the lines were going to be long, but really they weren't even that bad. Anyway, they had like a tent that's for your 21 plus bracelets, and then they had like the lines for you to get in. There were different lines for like GA plus, VIP, whatever, which is understandable. So let's talk about a little bit before we even get there. On May 9th, they release a what's allowed and what's not allowed list. And this list says only plastic, reusable hydration backpacks, this list says only clear plastic hydration packs, clear bags within certain limitations, and it flat out says no backpacks or purses that exceed a very small limit, like teeny tiny, right? So I'm looking at the list of what you're allowed to bring in, and you can bring in like a lot of regular stuff, but on that list is e-cigs and vapes. At the end of this list, it says no water bottles that exceed 32 ounces, 1 water bottle per guest. It must be non-metal and empty on the way in. So you're telling me I can bring in a vape, but I can't bring in a water bottle bigger than 32 ounces on a 96-degree day? Okay. Anyway, so that kind of annoyed me because the list also said no umbrellas, and the umbrellas in there were definitely umbrellaing. Like, people were in with umbrellas, which I understand because it's hot. Like, I don't want that shade on me. And ultimately, they ended up not even having enough shady spots. So, umbrellas should have been allowed to begin with. So, 5 days ago from today, they released the schedule finally. Let's also talk about how they posted like buy your lockers now, like 2 weeks before, like get your lockers before they sell out, and everyone in the comments is like, where's the schedule, where's the schedule, where's the schedule, and they're mute. As of today, those comments have been turned off, and I'm sure that's because of what happens towards the end that I'll tell you guys about. Anyway, so the day they released the schedule, it's upside down. Who messed up the Excel spreadsheet? Because why is this upside down? So anyway, we found out that day that Brandy's out, Eve is out, Fat Joe and Trina are both now only on Sunday. Which, that annoyed me because I love Fat Joe. Like, I originally picked Saturday because everybody that was there on Saturday was supposed to be out there on Sunday. Like, that was what you advertised, and now all of a sudden, 5 days before, you're announcing that it's not coming. Like, you're telling me you didn't know Eve and Brandy weren't going to pull out until 5 days before. I guess, whatever, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt on that. But that really just annoyed me. So anyway, now let's talk about once we get in there. The second we're in there, like we're all taking pictures by the big Lovers and Friends hoop, whatever. The second I get in there, I'm looking around and I'm like, y'all do not follow the bag rules. Not the people, but the guards, the festival itself is not enforcing these bag rules. Now that annoyed me because I'm carrying around my Coach like literal lanyard, not even. This is what I'm carrying. I'm wearing shorts. Y'all know how women's shorts are. I have my EpiPen in my pocket. This, my reusable charger, or my like charger pack in my back pocket. Literally all of my pockets are being used because this was like the requirements that they said that you could bring in. And I get there and people got Loungefly backpacks, they got totes, they got umbrellas, they have water bottles. I'm like, what happened to the empty water bottle rule? Like, what happened to no water bottle over 32 ounces? Like, that is what annoyed me, is the inconsistency, because I would have brought my water bottle. Like, I would have done all the things that y'all said we couldn't do. But I'm a rule follower, so I'm like, that one was on me, whatever. So, as of Sunday, they were allowed to bring in everything we weren't allowed. They were allowed to bring in ice in their hydro flasks. If I would have had ice, I would have been okay. But there were literally people out there begging for cups to get water, and they were like, giving them hassle because they didn't want to give them a cup. And I'm like, these are the rules that you guys made. Like, you want people to bring in 6-ounce water bottles, but then don't even want to give them a cup when the water in the free water stations was hot anyway? So you could have just given them a cup and gone about your way, but instead you made it a hassle. This show that I see is A-Marie. I was super excited for her. She came out beautifully. Like, first show of the day, she looked so good. The crowd was vibing. Barely, probably like 4 songs in her set, they cut her mic, and I'm like, and she's like rushing off the stage like, I love you guys, bye. It's this one thing, literally sings It's This One Thing, and books it off the stage. Like, we didn't even get to hear the song because they were cutting her already at the very beginning of the day, the first show of the day. I'm like, this, I'm hoping this is not how it starts. But let's talk about the audio. The audio for A-Marie, like, when she first got on, we couldn't even hear her. Then she finally gets in the groove and is like vibing, we're all vibing, and then she's like, I gotta go. The speakers that were up there were weird. They had an echo. I don't know why that would be, but it wasn't giving, because we couldn't barely enjoy her for the speakers that sounded off, and then for them cutting her mic. Like, it was just, it was really unfortunate, honestly. Audio and the visual were a reoccurring problem throughout the entire show. I'll kind of post some examples here, but some of them, like when they would put up the singers' visuals, they would have like the bar at the bottom, like hitting play. At the big stage, the Lovers and the Friends stage, you could see them like putzing around on the screen trying to pull up people's visuals. And then there was just like some places where the screen was blank, or it'd go blank while the person was performing. It was just, I felt like it was run by rookies, and that's no disrespect to anybody who would have been running it in their time in the industry, but it didn't give. It was not cohesive. Those problems occurred throughout the whole day. So that is, it's not $300 worth of money that should cost when you guys can't even get your audio together. And on top of that, they had cut multiple people throughout the day, and it was just, it was annoying. Like at one point they cut a performer, I cannot remember who it was, but he stayed up there and he's like, give me my time, and then came back out and finished his set because he's like, I'm not about to let y'all play me. And it's just like, that should have never happened. Like, that should have been worked out before. We all should have had a little bit more space in the schedules. Also, a lot of people were complaining that the stages were too far apart. I loved it. Mostly because, again, the audio was messed up, but I couldn't hear the messed up audio from the other stage while I was at one of the, like, say if I was at the Lovers and Friends stage, I couldn't really hear the audio from the Crunk stage, even though I could hear the, like, bad, or I guess inconsistent audio from the Lovers and Friends stage. I couldn't hear the other person's audio, so to me, that wasn't really as much of a problem with them being close together, but those people probably could have just had better ears than I did. So it's 3:20, I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm exhausted. I need my inhaler. I had been skipped in the water line, which is nobody's fault. I'm just like, okay. I got my water finally, and I was like, I'm getting out of here. I had GA+, so I'm like, okay, I can come back in and leave twice and still be fine. As I'm walking, or I go up to the ADA stand, because that was really the only place that I knew where to go, and it was the same as like the guest services stand. So I'm like, is there anything that I need to do to get back in, because I paid for this, like, I don't want to, you know, basically not end up not seeing it over some little thing. She's like, just have them scan your bracelet on the way out. And I'm like, cool, bet. On the way out, I'm walking, they're giving us paper bracelets, and I'm like, don't tell me I paid extra for this perk. only for everybody to get the perk. And I'm not mad that everybody got the perk because we needed to go home. It was hot. I'm mad that they like advertised it as something exclusive, and then it was just like, here's your paper bracelet, we're not scanning, just go ahead and come back. Anyway, at that time, I texted the people I was with because they really wanted to leave too, and I'm like, you should be able to leave. Like, they're doing paper bracelets. Like, everybody is going to be able to come back. The service sucked. Like, the service sucked so bad that they ended up not even getting that text until they texted me saying that they announced that everybody can leave and come back, and then I realized that my text didn't even send, and I was like, I tried. But at the end of the day, it's like they should have had either more shade or I guess cold water, or even just like another water station alone would have helped. And I'm not even like hating on what they had, because honestly the lines were just long. Like, on any hot day it's gonna be long if it's free water. Like, I kind of expected it, I guess. So that really, the water station wasn't a problem for me. It was more just so like everybody being able to leave and come back, them not even caring or counting it, or like, it didn't matter, I guess, to me that people got to leave because I wanted people to be safe. It just mattered that like we paid for the exclusivity, and it's like there was really no exclusiveness for the GA Plus. And I remember the tier differences. Like, if I didn't remember the differences between them, I probably wouldn't be as upset, but I did remember. So it's like, I know that there should have been a different level of like opportunities for GA Plus than there was. I leave, and I left at like 3:20. I was really sad I was missing little Kim. Turns out she didn't even come. And then I remember seeing a thing that they pushed her set back, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be able to see her. So I went to go and look for that post today to insert into this video, and it wasn't there anymore. So my guess, I wasn't there, so I don't know. My guess is she just didn't show up on Saturday. I didn't ask anybody, but I'm pretty sure she did not show up. I didn't see any posts from her other than Sunday, so for whatever that may be, she didn't show up, which is again another person we missed out on, even though we paid for the Saturday day, which was originally advertised as everybody. So that was kind of annoying. And also, now that I like know that they're deleting posts, I'm like, what else did you delete? So anyway, I came back around 6 after taking a nap, getting water, whatever, and I'm vibing. Like, really, the shows from that point on were good. The audio and the visuals were still a little wonky, whatever. I didn't have anything to do with that. I could still see from where I was, so I was having fun. Like, I was vibing. Sierra, Neo, Genuine, like Nelly, they all put on an amazing show. I had so much fun. I planned on staying at that stage until 10:30 when Monica came on. Before we could even make it to Monica, probably at around 10 o'clock, I tried to go back and look at my texts, but they were all over the place and sent out of order. So I'm just going to assume it was around 10 o'clock. There was a huge stampede of people, like, huge. It was bad. There was people sitting on the floor in front of me, and I literally never saw them again for the rest of the night. Like, there were people sitting all around because it was in between shows. And the thing about the stampede is that people were saying gun or that it was shooting, and I'm like, one, gonna trust myself. I didn't hear anything. I would highly doubt that someone would be able to sneak a silencer into a place like this. I didn't hear anybody, like, there was screams, but there was not screams to the level of gunshots. Like, it could have be just like me knowing and not being scared, I guess, versus the people who had probably never heard gunshots being horrified. It was a scary stampede, but I was not scared for my life. I don't want to discredit anybody who was scared for their life, especially if they really did think it was a shooting. And I'm not going to tell people to be scared or not to be scared. I'm just saying I wasn't scared for my life. It just wasn't horrific enough for me to be scared, and that's probably scary in itself. But it wasn't, so I stayed. I paid for the show. I paid for these tickets. We had already missed out on various artists. And I was just like, okay, I'm not scared really, and I didn't hear anything really, so like I was content with staying. I wasn't super scared. There were ambulances. Apparently there was something that happened outside of the show. Again, I don't know. I could not confirm because we were told to stay where we were. There were people hopping over the fence because I was probably in the middle of it, and I got pushed up so far that I was at the like barricade right before VIP. So it was a pretty big stampede, but I was like, okay, they said to stay. There's really no way out other than like jumping this fence. And then I could see that they were like blocking off the sides of the fences, so even if you did get out like over the fence, you couldn't get all the way to the back. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stay here. It was only 10 o'clock, so I was like, okay, I'll technically will still have time to see Monica. Anyway, they paused all the performances on all the stages, so I stayed there, obviously, and just waited for Usher and Luda's and Lil Jon's part because there was nowhere else we could go, and I didn't even know if Monica was going to come on to this point. I still don't know if Monica even went on Saturday night because it took like an hour to get things sorted out. The police came. The one thing I didn't like was that their announcement about it was like, oh, it's just bullshit that happened. It's no big deal. Just stay where you are.
Over. Do not fucking move. If you're in the back, bring your motherfucking ass closer. Cause Usher, John, and Luda gonna do it again.
And I'm like, okay, even though I wasn't scared, let's not be insensitive to the people who were, or to people who have never been to huge festivals or big concerts like this where you're in a huge group, because it wasn't bullshit to them. People lost their shoes, they lost their phone, people were literally stepped on, like, people were sitting on the ground, and I know by the way that this stampeded that people got stepped on. Like, let's not just dismiss everybody's feelings now. That was the part where I was like a little side-eyeing to it, because it's like, now something definitely did happen. Whether it was inside or outside, something happened, and that was the stampede. People don't deserve to be stampeded in this weather at this place. Like, this is a festival. That's not where these things should be occurring. So for me, that was a little like rude, but whatever. I could just be more sensitive than other people. So anyways, once they came on, it was a good show. Like, it was fine for the rest of the night. I will say I was kind of annoyed with like the way they handled things. They didn't tell us anything. They just put up like the things on the screen and then made those announcements, and they were like, don't go nowhere, the party's just getting started. And I'm like, people just got stepped on. Like, their party's over. Their party is literally over. People were passing out throughout the day. Like, the party's been a little, you know, iffy. So I guess whatever, I stayed. It was a really good show. I enjoyed it. But at the end of that, I was like, okay, like, let's go. I wanted to wait for Lauryn Hill. So I stayed for a little bit because I thought that she was going to, one, come on time after being like an hour plus like pushed back, and two, I thought she was gonna sing like, you know, some bangers, and it wasn't hitting. So I was like, okay, like, I'm packing it up, I'm going home at this point. And that was my time at the festival. Like, I'm overall gonna give it probably like a 7.5 out of 10. The worst part about it for me was the heat, was the warm water, was the breaking the bag rules, letting people in with whatever, bringing the water bottles in, and then those people being able to bring in everything we couldn't bring in on Sunday. That, for me, was probably like the reason why I'm not going to give them anything of a better score than that. But ultimately, I'm going to say it was worth it. Some of the people, like Usher, Lil Jon, Neo, Snoop, like, half of those people, their concert tickets alone would have been more than $300, which is what I paid for everything after shipping and checking out. So to me, it was worth it to get to see all the people that I loved in one place, surrounded by really cool people. Everybody I met at the festival was super nice, and I did enjoy most of my time there, aside from being like hot and stampeded on. It wasn't a horrible show for me, and I know some people are gonna have hot take opinions about that. I could just see it reading through the tweets that people were really upset about the stampede and about the way they handled the situation, and about the heat. I live in Minnesota. I don't see the sun for 6 months out of the year, so I understand how the heat could have affected some people who are from places like this, but it was Vegas, so I guess I knew what to expect. And I'm not trying to discredit those people for passing out or for saying they were hot or for saying it was too hot to like even enjoy the show. But that was expected to me, so that's not like a con of the show for me. The con was really just the hypocriticalness between the rules and Saturday from Sunday, and the people that they showed on Saturday that didn't show up on Saturday. If you were there or if you have anything to say, please feel free to leave it in the comments. If you want to just talk about your experience, or if you too are making a video or are going to be sharing a video about it, comment below. Let me know what you think. Feel free to reach out to me. Reach out and tell me what you thought. If you feel the same way, if you don't feel the same way, I would love to hear it in a constructive, nice way. Because it was an experience for all of us. There were tons of people there, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different varying opinions, and I would love to hear it. I'm all about seeing a different perspective, so let me know if you felt differently. That is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment if you did enjoy this video or are interested in any of my other videos. We would love to have you in our family. If you went to the concert, I hope you had an amazing time. That's the end. Bye, guys.